Okay, so recently there have been a lot of allegations against me that have come out on social media talking about how I've apparently made it a habit to befriend women to try and get with them and then block them upon their rejection, which is obviously a very incomplete aspect of this story. And At first, I was very, very reluctant to share any information regarding this on social media because I just don't believe that the personal romantic lives or personal interactions of two people's friendship really has any place being aired out on social media. And the fact that it became a drama filled fest is quite disgusting and extremely, extremely disappointing. However, since this blew up and gained so much traction because I am a figure in the public eye, a lot of people kept pressuring me to speak on it, and a lot of it was a lot of trolls on Twitter who were really just hunting for additional sources of drama, and so I was just like, I'm not feeding into this drama machine, even though one girl wanted to post some stuff, and then because of that, it triggered another girl to post some stuff, because we were in the middle of a fight of our own. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm just going to feed all the trolls on Twitter, and it didn't seem like the professional move to me. It didn't seem like the dignified move. It's just very petty to take personal and private information of the romantic or the private lives of two individuals, and then because you're unsatisfied with the way something turned out, to go to social media and then to start and paint your own narrative and spin your own story, especially after you already have someone blocked, so they can't even see it or defend themselves properly. And I just really, it's extremely disappointing, and it's really a disgusting way to behave. And I really didn't want to stoop to that level, but just since because it's gone so viral, I'm constantly being questioned all the time now by everybody. People are just saying, oh, is this person unhealthy for our community, and this, that, and the other. It just has really reached a tipping point. And also for me emotionally, this has been something that has come to Twitter recently, but honestly, and as you'll hear with the whole story, it's something that I have been struggling to deal with for over a week now. I want to say even 2 weeks now. Um, in the case of one of the two stories, and it's really, really disappointing to me. But it's also really very painful for me to deal with. So while I'm getting hit up with all of these people on Twitter just asking about all these personal aspects of my lives, of things that I'm actually just trying to move away from, get over, and give everybody the space that they asked for. Um, instead now they decided to bring it to social media, and so now none of us get space, and it just doesn't make any sense. It's a very immature way to go about things, and I'm really unsatisfied with that. But since everybody keeps asking, with no further ado, I'll tell the stories, and I'll first tell the Dana story just because it came out first. Um, in February after Frostbite, Dana was a girl that she saw my casting on Frostbite, and she followed me on Twitter, and she liked me. And I noticed she liked me because she kept liking like pretty much all of my tweets in a row. And so I checked out her profile, and I was like, oh, okay, this girl's pretty cute. Um,
Oh,
and
murder.
um, Sorry. And so I was like, okay, this girl's pretty cute. And so I checked out her profile, and I saw that she was studying psychology. So psychology is something I really like. And um, and that she had a lot of interesting points to make on her timeline, on her feed. So I followed her back, and immediately after I followed her back, she DM'd me. So no, this was not an episode of Pierce slides into girls' DMs. She DM'd me, and we started talking. And she said she liked me, and I said I liked her back, and we started talking, and we got pretty serious pretty quickly. She lived far away, so I booked a flight to go visit her, and she reflected my interest in her, and things were pretty serious between us, and we were considering settling down into a relationship. Just before the trip was about to happen, she decided she changed her mind, and she didn't want me to fly to Florida to see her, and she decided that she just didn't like me anymore. And this was very heartbreaking to me because we had started to create an incredible bond, and I was very attached to her, and I liked her very much. So because of this, it was just really a 360 left turn out of nowhere. Like, imagine you're talking to a girl, everything's going completely perfectly, and we were not friends first. It always just started out as a romantic endeavor between me and Dana. And then out of nowhere, after I already booked a flight to come visit her, she's just like, "Yeah, nah, never mind, I don't like you anymore." So this was very heartbreaking to me. So I did block her on everything, right? And this was several months ago. Let's say it was in March. Okay. After I blocked her on everything, I was still heartbroken. Everything was very painful process for me. Um, I was really, really sad for multiple days in a row, and I was just trying to move on. I was trying to get over her. I needed space. I needed to get over her. I just wanted to forget about her, because the fact that we could be so interested in each other and that I really fell for her, and then she, just decided that she felt the completely opposite way that than she felt yesterday was crazy to me. Like, I had never experienced something like that. So, so I was just trying to take my space. I blocked her on everything, and she relentlessly hit up my phone. Um, and uh, After that, I, eventually I answered her message. I answered one of her calls, and then we talked it out, and then we said, okay, we're gonna be just friends. Now, for clarity's sake, as we talked it out and we said, okay, we're just going to be friends, in the days that followed, I was very open with her with the fact that I still liked her. And she was just like, actually, I don't have those feelings for you anymore. And so I was just like, okay, I get that, but like, please understand, like, I still do have those feelings for you. And this was not a secret. I was very, very upfront about this. There were no surprises here. But still, she continued to call me on a regular basis. And it wasn't just me hitting her up all the time. For any of my friends that already know me, they can vouch for this. I am absolutely awful at keeping in touch with people. I don't really pick up the phone and call people too often. I don't really text people out of nowhere too often. I'm extremely bad at keeping in touch with people, and that doesn't mean I do not value a friendship or anything like that. It's just that I'm not really good at friendship maintenance in the sense that I don't really reach out to people very often. So for these relationships to have continued going on the way they did, it's because the other person is consistently calling me and consistently engaging with me. Okay, just keep that in mind. This is not an episode of, Pierce is constantly blowing up this girl's phone, even though she says she doesn't like him anymore. This is girl wants to be my friend and consistently engages me, multiple times a day, throughout the week. Um, and so that's what that was. Now, our relationship was friendly, but it was a little super friendly because obviously I still liked her. And so, yeah, I did still flirt with her and stuff like that. But I also, um, but I also understood that she just wanted to be friends. Now, I need to also point out that in the case of Dana, I did not really have very much, if any at all, sexual commentary toward her. Even when we first started talking, because I had such strong emotions for her, I really kept sexual commentary kind of out of the conversation until she encouraged it a little bit more. So this also, it wasn't a case of like sexual harassment where I was constantly saying, sexually motivated things towards her. This was never a case. There was never a case of this, um, and I just don't do that. It's just not me. So, um, we were talking a lot and we were just being really good friends. Um, yes, I was still flirting sometimes. I'm not going to try and hide, you know, half of the story and just say, oh, I was never flirting with these people. That's false. I was flirting with these people, but ultimately, uh, we were, we were still progressing as really good friends and she would contact me on a very regular basis. Now, in it was either late April or early May. Um, she had a medical emergency, which I'm not going to go into, which caused her to leave the program that she was in school in Florida and go back to Chicago. Now, as a lot of you know, uh, I was intending to visit Zero in the Chicago area, so I, um, well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me rewind. So she left school and she went back home to Chicago, and through this process, I was there, I supported her, and then she was like, "Hey, I just need to really be by myself, like alone, isolated." And it's not directed towards you, meaning me, but it just, she just needed time and space for her own. So I was like, okay, I totally get it. she was going through a lot of stuff, and I really have been just trying to avoid putting her personal business out there. So I'm going to cut that segment short, but she was going through a lot of stuff. And so, we didn't talk at this point for several weeks. I didn't hit her up at all. And then some weeks later, she basically re-engages me, saying, hey, here's how I'm doing, et cetera, et cetera. And, I was friendly towards her, and I was just like, okay, I'm glad to hear you're doing a little bit better. And she was still going through a lot of stuff in her life, which I was being her friend and supporting her through. Um, and yes, there was still flirtations coming from me during this time. And there's some stuff that I really wish it would just paint us so much of a cleaner light for everyone else there. Um, but I just one of the reasons I didn't really want to talk about this is because if I really give you the whole proper story, it needs more context, and I'm unwilling, despite the fact that she came on a social media and started putting all these allegations for me. I'm really unwilling to just put all her business out there to explain, some of my behavior. So there's still going to be some mystery to the story, but hopefully you can see that I'm just trying to give as much truth as possible while just respecting her privacy, even though my privacy wasn't really respected. But basically, that just to be said, during this time talking, there were a lot of mixed messages. And I'll give you an example so you can kind of get the idea of what kind of things I'm talking about. So I would text her in the mornings because, I would want to motivate her because she was going through a lot of things. So I would start off the day with a good morning text message on a fairly regular basis. Now, mind you, this is fairly like romantically motivated behavior. Like this is something that like a boyfriend and girlfriend kind of would do, where the boyfriend just texts like good morning every day, and um, and she consistently, to her credit, she consistently maintained the stance that she was not interested in a relationship with me at this time, even though she would often say things like, yeah, but in the future, whoever, you never know what will happen, which is just so manipulative and just really like awful, awful thing to say, like to somebody who likes you. But that aside, I would still send her these good morning text messages because it was one way to start like helping to motivate her and support her and stuff like that. And she appreciated them, and I know she appreciated them because one day I was just like, yo, this is really like boyfriend like behavior. And she's consistently said she doesn't want me to be her boyfriend, so maybe I should stop doing this. And the day that I don't send her a good morning text message, she texts me and says, hey, I didn't get a good morning text message from you. And then also sends me a voicemail while I was in the bathroom, complaining about the same thing, like, hey, I didn't get a good morning text message from you. So that was red flag number one, because it's just like, hey, you say you don't want to be in a relationship, but a lot of the ways we speak to each other, going both ways, and a lot of the things you seem to be expecting of me were very, very mixed messages. It was very confusing. Imagine you're sending good morning text to a girl you like, and then she's telling you, oh well, I don't like you like that, and then you stop, and then she's just like, hey, where's my good morning text? So at this point, I'm just like, I have a decision to make. I could either call her out on it, but unfortunately, since I really like this girl, right, mind you, like I made the foolish decision and I just texted her like a good morning text the next day and each subsequent day. And the this was kind of like how our relationship would go. I would say a lot of really supportive, motivative things to her, give her a lot of advice on the things that, the problems in her life, and really just try and be there for her as a friend. And she very much appreciated all of the attention, affection, and uh, the output that I was giving towards her, and I knew she did because she would call me multiple times a day, right? Like if you have some beef with the way I'm behaving towards you, you don't call me multiple times a day only to say that I made you feel uncomfortable after the fact on Twitter, right? Like that's not something you do. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable, you stop replying to them. You call them out on their behavior personally, like in that text message, say, hey, that makes me feel uncomfortable, stuff like this. You don't just continue to call that person multiple times a day and like and lean on that person, rely on that person. That's not a person who's making you feel uncomfortable. Okay, so that was a thing. And recently, like let's say in the last month or so, things started to get a little bit strange because um now we'll jump to, I was planning to visit Zero. He lives in Chicago area, and she returned home to the same area. So it's like, wow, what a coincidence! I'm actually going to be visiting that region And we have both collaborated that we would meet up when I got there. And she was like, hey, if I'm feeling up to it, I'll even pick you up from the airport. And, we made a whole bunch of plans of things to do together because we were basically like best friends and sometimes very super friendly with each other. And I'm not saying that necessarily she was flirting back with me. I'm not going to try and manipulate or warp the story because that's definitely not true. But there were definitely times when she was showing that she was very grateful for the affection that I would give her. Okay. And she did not represent otherwise, until later, and I'll get into that. So one day, we're in the middle of a phone conversation, and I tell her, like, listen, when I come to Chicago and when I see you and all that stuff, I'm not going to make any moves or advances onto you because you've been pretty consistently representing that you're not interested in me, and you're also the one who has been, very proactive throughout this entire relationship. You DM'd me first. You're the one who represented that you were interested in me. You're the one who said I should come visit you. You're then the one who said I shouldn't come visit you. Then when I wasn't talking to you, you're the one who constantly blew up my phone to get me to talk to you again. That, like, everything. And then when we stopped talking for a little while after that, you're the one who stopped talking with me. Then you're the one who messaged me again and started talking to me again. Everything that has gone on in our relationship has been a direct product of your actions and your behaviors. So when I come there, I'm not going to try and make any advances on you because it wouldn't make any sense, right? Like, it could put you in an uncomfortable situation, and I don't want to do that. So if anything's to happen, it's just going to be only things that you initiate, not things that I initiate. And this is something that I spoke with her with, and it was very clear. It was a cordial conversation between the two of us. We were very clear about it, and that was what it was. So you can imagine that I was extremely angry one day when we're having a conversation one day. And she says to me, hey, I need you to promise me something. So I'm like, oh, okay, what? What's up? And then she says, hey, when you come here, and I'm going to have to pause before I say this because it's really as crazy as it sounds. She says, when you come here, uh, if I make a move on you, promise me you'll stop me. This is really what a girl asked me. She said, if I make a move on you, promise me that you'll stop me from making a move on you. So of course I'm just like, what the heck? No. Like, what a crazy thing to ask a dude, right? Like, be responsible for your own consent and be responsible for your own actions, right? Like, I already told her that I was not going to make any moves on her. And then she suggested that if she were to make a move on me, I'm the one who needs to be responsible and stop her. So I'm just like, no, what the heck? And and then she continues insisting, and she goes like, oh, you're the responsible one, you have self-control, all this stuff, just laying it on me. And I'm just like, I like you, I like you, I tell you all the time I like you. Why would you put the burden on me to then, like, have to reject you when the girl that I like is coming on to me, right? Like, if you don't want anything to be awkward between us or anything like that, and you think this is going to be a bad idea, just don't do anything because I already said I'm not going to do anything. Like, what the heck is this? So, and she keeps asking me so much that it really starts to get me mad and really see, like, the kind of person she is. And it makes me start to consider her as being very selfish. And this was a really big tipping point in our relationship for me. And I didn't really speak about it with her because I was just so furious to the point where I just was like, you know what, fine, okay. And I was just really fed up in the situation. And then she tried to go back to conversation as normal, but I just started giving one word answers. And I could tell that I was really pissed off, but I didn't want to be angry at her because I was trying to be understanding of her. But at the same time, I was also very upset. So I excused myself from that conversation. I took a shower, I cooled off, and I come back to and I call her back, and she had texted me a bunch of times, like, while I was in the shower, please, call me back, etc., etc. This guy in the gym, I don't really want to talk to him, so I want to talk to you, etc., etc. And I was just like, okay, called her back, and we just started talking again. I came up with a compromise for her. I was like, okay, so listen, if I come there and you, like, start advancing on me or something like that, I'll stop you the first time, and then after that, anything's game. And retrospectively, that's even still a crazy ass agreement to come to. Like, what the heck? What is this relationship even? And I start to really observe that this relationship is truly becoming, like, kind of toxic. But I still had feelings for this girl, so my head was all over the place, um, and it was just a very, very awkward situation. Um, so, like, time keeps progressing. It's getting pretty close to SmashCon, um, where I'm going to be traveling to SmashCon for a weekend, and then after that, the weekend after SmashCon, I'm going to be in Chicago. So We're having our normal conversations, multiple conversations every day, 4 hours. Um, she's hitting me up, and she starts to text me weirder and weirder stuff like, hey, when you come here, maybe it's better if I don't pick you up from the airport. And so, like, this was the beginning of the end because I could see we're, like, kind of growing apart. I can see, like, I'm feeling upset about stuff that I'm not properly expressing why I'm upset. We're not communicating properly like we used to be communicating. And, and we used to have really, really stellar communication. It was one of the reasons why I really fell for her in the first place, is because she was such a good communicator and we just communicated very well together. And I could just see the way we're communicating is just not what it used to be. And this was really upsetting me. So she says, hey, when you come, maybe I won't pick you up from the airport. Maybe I'll definitely see you, but like, maybe just not the first day. So I'm just like, okay, it's cool, it's fine, whatever, which is cool because I could just have Zero pick me up from the airport anyways. Then another time she messaged me and and she's like, hey, can you call me? I want to talk. And so I call her. I'm like, hey, what's up? And she's like, I was thinking when you come here, maybe it's better we hang out in a group setting. Now, mind you, we have been talking multiple hours a day, every day, even leading into this conversation. So to me, it's just like, wow, like, we're so close. You call me, we talk hours every day, but you don't feel comfortable with hang out with me one on one. Like, that's kind of sus, but whatever. All I just said was like, okay, that's cool. Didn't argue with her, didn't complain, just said, okay, that's cool. So we get to the final part where we really stop talking, which is where she messages me and she says, basically, what? I can tell that your feelings are just like not in the same place as my feelings, and I don't want to lead you on. I think I need some space. So she asked me for space. And then I replied basically back to her message, you know what? I really think space is a good idea because I can tell that one, what you said is true. Two, like, the way I feel now is really based off of the potential of what we could have had, but like, the way that we have been communicating lately isn't what it used to be, and it's just much worse, and I really need to sort my own feelings out. So I think that space is a great idea. She replies back to me, oh, no, I think you still like me, and you just don't want to admit it because you don't want to like me, but it's okay to admit how you feel. Who the heck says that? Like, even if you think that, who says that? So this, again, perpetuates me to be even more angry, right? Like, what a narcissistic thing to say. Like, that's crazy. If you believe that, that's fine, but why would you say that to me in a message while we're saying we should take some space to sort out our feelings? Like, what the heck is that? So I don't even reply to that message because I'm mad. And why would I start a fight when we're supposed to be taking space? That doesn't make sense, right? So I just don't reply. And so we're supposed to be taking space, but then, oh, I left out one relevant part of this dialogue where I said, when I come to Chicago, I'm not sure if I'll see you, but as you like to say, who knows? Because as I said, that was one of the things she always used to say. Not really interested in anybody right now, but in the future, like, we'll see what happens. Who knows? So I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know if I'll see you when I come to Chicago because, I just really need space to sort things out with my own feelings. But as you like to say, who knows? So, okay. So, fast forward 3 days later, we're supposed to be taking space. I'm really trying to get her out of my head. Haven't got her out of my head because, again, I really like this girl. But, but I'm trying to just take some space, take some distance. And she texts me. So I'm just like, okay, well, so much for space. But here, let's take a look at the text. Hey, I know you need space, but I was just wondering, when you said that you weren't going to see me when you come to Chicago, is it because you, you think you need more space, or is it because you think I didn't want to see you? Why would you ask me this when we're supposed to be having space? Like, such a loaded, conflicting question. Like, this is not appropriate at all to be asking me at this point in our relationship, and this point of both of us taking space, which, again, your idea to take space made no sense. So I'm upset that she even asked me this. But, I just reply. I say both. Both. I need space. And I don't know if she even wants to see me because, again, breadcrumbing up to all those messages before. First it was, oh, let me pick you up from the airport. Then it's, oh, wait, maybe it's better if I don't pick you up from the airport. Then it's, oh, wait, maybe it's better if we don't hang out one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's better if I don't see you right away when you get here. Like, I'm starting to get the feeling this girl doesn't want to see me. So I'm just like, okay, let me just take the burden off you and just suggest maybe I just won't see you when we go to Chicago, which she agreed, yeah, we'll see. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe that'll not. And, she even agreed with it when I suggested it. So I was like, okay, we're already drifting apart. It is what it is. And I just want to put some clarity out there. At no point did I think that this was an indefinite space. I just really genuinely believed that we needed space. I think that if two friends who have different levels of feelings for each other come to the conclusion that they need space, then some actual space should be taken. And I could use that space to really sort out my feelings and see how things go. So then, I try to resume having space, but of course now she's fresh in my mind from this text message. And okay, well, that was just only 2 days of space, but whatever. So 3 days later, she texts me again, and I'm just like, what the heck? What happened to space? I literally can't even get a week of space, like not even a single week. And it was her idea to take space. So her next text message is basically like, it's extremely accusatory, which offended me deeply. It was just basically like, hey, basically in a nutshell, what it said is, I don't think you were ever my friend, despite all the stuff that I helped her through. But she basically said, I don't think you were ever my friend. And like, I think you were just hoping that I was going to hook up with you when I came here to Chicago. And now that you realize I'm not, you just don't want to talk to me anymore. And in my mind, I'm just like, what? You're the one who said you wanted space in the first place. Like, all of this, every single thing that has ever happened between us is a result of a decision that you made, and you pushed things into that decision. The reason that we're taking space from each other right now is because you said you wanted space and I agreed that it was a fantastic idea. So now you're mad that we're taking space from each other, and it means that I was just trying to get a quick beat. And like what? Like, it was just so disgusting of a thing to accuse me of. So at this just makes me again even more mad. And what do I do? Nothing. I just don't reply, because it's like, what do I say? Like, I don't want to fight with her. I want space to heal from this extremely, extremely manipulative and disgusting situation. And it's just really, really bad. So I don't say anything. I don't want to accuse her of anything. I just want time and space to sort out my own feelings. And I'm not getting it, because I'm getting a text message, first in 3 days, then in 2 days. And I just can't get a text message. So the next day she texts me again. No such thing as space in this world, I'm telling you right now. If a girl says she needs space, you're screwed, bro. But anyways, she texted me again the very next day, and this one really, it hit me in the feels, because she just said, "I'm sorry, I'm just really sad right now, and I miss talking to you." So this instantly like switches off my anger for a little bit, because when the girl I really like text me that message, my first reaction is empathy. I want to comfort her. I want to be there for her. I just, like, that was my first reaction. So as soon as I saw this text message, I instantly called her, but she didn't answer my call. And the reason was apparently because she had a doctor's appointment and she was really busy at the time. But then she texted me a little while later saying how her doctor's appointment was rescheduled, but I had already made plans and I was out, and I was hanging out with a friend. So I was just like, I'll text you another time. And she hits me with the K, like the kind of like the salty, like, oh, well, you should really be talking to me right now, but K, like, so I was like, okay, whatever. So I don't reply to that. And that was what it was. Then, guess what happens the very next day? If you guessed that she texted me again, you're right. There's no such thing as taking space. Except this text isn't to say, hey, can you talk right now or anything like that. That's not what the text was to say. This text was crazy. It just said, hey, I'm going to hit you with an ultimatum, whether you think it's fair or not. This is the ultimatum I'm putting on you. If you think you need more time and space for me, again, just a reminder, it was her idea to take space. If you think you need more time and space from me, I don't need people who aren't sure where they stand with me in life. Just block me and delete me off everything. And this was her instructions to me. I have the text to prove it. I have every single one of these text messages to prove it. But she said, if you think you need more time and space from me, just block and delete me off of everything. And like, because either right now we're going to talk right now, and I don't care if you need space or anything like that. Either we're going to talk right now and move forward, or just delete me off everything. Just block me off everything. I don't need a person who's just unsure about things to have me in their life. So this was incredibly hurtful, because I've just been trying to take a little bit of space this whole time. It was I never intended it for it to be an indefinite amount of space. I just needed actual amount of space to assess, because I really did care about this girl a lot and I really had a lot of feelings for her. I'm never going to lie about that. Even to this day, I still have some feelings for her, because like, that's what it is, you know. Any girl I've ever dated can tell you that I'm not the type of person to fall out of love with somebody, right? Like that's not like I grow very attached. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm very clingy, but I grow very attached. Um, so it was like, okay, you know, she hit me with an ultimatum. It was either talk to me right now, and I was like, I'm not in the right mental space to talk to her right now. I need space, and the fact that she's saying, "Screw you and screw your need for space, block me on everything, or talk to me right now," I felt that was extremely unfair, extremely inappropriate, and extremely insensitive to my feelings and my mental health. So I did what she said. I did exactly what she told me to do, which was to block her on everything, except I didn't block her number. But I blocked her on Twitter, I blocked her on Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. Okay, and that was and then I texted her back, "Be safe out there," because it was just an incredibly unfair thing, and it was very insensitive of me for her to demand that of me, and it was extremely upsetting, and I was already very upset, and so I did exactly what she asked and exactly what she requested. Um, that was the last message I ever sent to her or spoke to her, because when you block somebody, I'm not a believer in, you know, faking it, right? Like if I do something, I do it for real. When I was committed to her, I was committed for real, and when she said get out my life, I got out for real. I don't like to play games. I don't like to do all this half back and forth stuff. Like it's just that's very petty, it's very childish. I'm 27 years old. Like stop it. She's 28 years old. Stop it. Like no. So so when you tell me if you need more space, block me on everything, and I block you on everything, that's what it is, you know? And after this, she continuously, nonstop blows up my phone with text messages, manipulative behavior, trying to accuse me of crazy stuff. And it's just really, really extremely hurtful. I'm trying to get over this girl. I liked her a lot, and I'm just trying to move on at this point. I'm trying to, you know, put those feelings in the past. I'm trying to move on. I'm not hitting her up. I'm not harassing her or none of this. I'm not chasing her down. You know, I saw the screenshots of what she posted on Twitter. It was a lie. The way she told the story was a lie. I'll say it straight. You know, I don't really like, you know, trying to cause drama or anything petty and call people out like this. But the way she said it on Twitter, it was a straight up lie. I didn't chase her down or try and call her a bunch of times or get her back or anything like that. That is typical Dana behavior. Um, and the worst part is, I know her, and she's the type of person who needs her closure. But I didn't owe her that closure. She told me to block her on everything, and she hurt me tremendously. And when I did it, she was upset that I followed through with it, even though she completely disregarded my need for time and space. So because of this, now she's super upset, and I'm not replying to any of her texts, and I'm ignoring her phone calls because I'm hurt, and she told me to block her. She gave me her ultimatum, and I followed through with it. And then she didn't stick through with it. It wasn't a real ultimatum. She didn't stick through with it. So I'm just trying to ignore her. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to take my space. And I'm trying to just get over her. She's constantly blowing up my phone. I'm at SmashCon, still getting blown up with constant calls, constant text messages, and I'm just trying to ignore them, get over it. It's really difficult. It's very painful for me. And fortunately, a very good friend of mine who will remain unnamed, but she was just like, "Hey, listen, do you want me to just block her for you?" I mean, no, she asked me like, "Why don't you just block her?" And I admitted it straight up. I was just like, "I don't have it in me. I still really care about this person a lot. There's still that part of me in the back of my mind that's constantly battling every day. Should I just text her, call her, make her feel better, right? Like even though, you know, everyone, all of my friends who know about the situation are just telling me that like the situation that's going on is extremely manipulative, very toxic toward me, and complete disregardation of my own personal mental health. You know, I'm still considering like, you know, maybe I should just call her, maybe I should just text her, and all my friends are like, "No, dude, don't you see what's going on? Like this is crazy. She's just basically using you, and she's treating you like her boyfriend without actually claiming you as her boyfriend, and it's not right." And you know, I was agreeing with them, but not really, like, but like still also, you know how like when you know a girl is not right for you or a guy is not right for you, but you just keep, you know, talking to them anyways because you just still like them. That was where I was at. And I was just like, I really just don't have it in me to just block her number. So you know, I'll just put up with the texts and the calls. And she was like, "I'll do it for you," and I was just like, "Thank you." So I handed over my phone, and then her number was blocked. And to that friend, you know who you are. Thank you so much, because I didn't have the strength to do that, but I needed it. So I'm trying to get over her. Um, I get home from SmashCon. You know, she was blocked on Saturday. I get home from SmashCon Sunday night, and now on Twitter, this whole thing blows up Monday because she never got her closer, because I never replied to her, because she just couldn't let things go. Then she decided to be manipulative in a desperate attempt to continue trying to coax me into reacting to her, and to try and like find her own version of closure by trying to expose me on the internet, because she knows I have a following and she knows that this type of thing can be very damaging to me. So she basically takes a warped, manipulative version of events and very selective screenshots. Doesn't mention the fact that she's the one who gave me the ultimatum in the first place to block her, but I have that text. And doesn't mention that like I followed through it on her own instructions, and doesn't mention that all of the things that happened were on her own instructions, and then just basically paints this whole slander story against me, and that is the story of what happens. Now you have two sides of the story. Obviously, I have a ton of proof, but I'm not just gonna go and post all her personal business out there, because one of the reasons I was really, really hesitant to post out a video like this in the first place is because here's what happens now. I have 4,700 followers on Twitter. Now, I'm not famous or nothing, but 4,700 people is a lot of people. And when you have drama between a guy and a girl in a community like this, it blows up really quick. It goes viral really quick. And the same way how her allegations came out against me, when I post my side of the story, it's going to blow up faster than hers because I have a bigger following. And a lot of people are going to hear this story and they're going to be really mad at her, and they're going to say, oh, you treated Pierce like trash. And then they're going to go and she's going to get all these threats, all these messages, all this harassment. And she's not really in a good place to be able to deal with that. And I don't want her to ever have to deal with something like that. Neither of us should have had to deal with anything like this, because this should have never came to social media in the first place. And so, like, for anybody that's seen this video, I'm just begging you, please don't harass her, don't do anything like that. It's totally inappropriate. This should have never been on Twitter. It should have never been on social media in the first place. But a lot of people really encouraged me to come out and tell my side of the story, including a bunch of my good friends were really encouraging me to do it. And I still to this very moment, I don't even know if it's really the right thing to do to just come out with my side of the story. But it is what it is. So I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. If I do end up posting this video, understand that I recorded this video, still not even knowing if I posted it, but just knowing that doing this recording, telling my side of the story to the camera, would at least help me get a little bit of peace of mind, and just help me feel a little bit better. Thank you so much to all my friends who already knew what was going on through the entire time that it was happening, while I was really struggling with my own feelings and going through a really rough time. You know who you are. You supported me so much, and I really thank you, and I love you so much for that. And to everybody else who saw this video, please don't go harassing her or anything like that. Just leave her alone. Like, all I really want is just to be left alone. This was a very private situation between me and a woman, and it started off romantic, turned into platonic afterwards, which is a very difficult transition if you've ever been through it. And then there was a lot of mixed messages going back and forth, a lot of misunderstandings. And then she said something I guess she regretted when she gave me an ultimatum, and I stuck through with it, and we had a whole blow up because she decided that she wanted to be very immature and petty by putting it to Twitter. But that does not mean I want you all to be immature and petty by harassing her. Please don't do that. I really beg you not to do that. No, really, I really beg you, do not do that. And thank you so much for listening. Now, of course, there's the Charisse matter to clear up. But if I do choose to clear this up, it'll be in a different video, because this one has already run like 40 minutes long. But there was just a lot to unpack there. So again, thank you so much for listening.